Hello and welcome to the Travelling Through podcast. To those first-time listeners, I am Emma, your podcast host, and each week I'm out and about chatting to Londoners and those who love, live and work in this big and glorious city. This week I caught up with VITORIA Sanvicente, who persuaded her sister and family to pack up their gelato shop in Maastricht and bring it to London Waterloo in the middle of a pandemic. This is her story of setting up Candiero London. Just a note, we recorded this in the gelato laboratory surrounded by freezers, so apologies in advance for the sound quality. I have made it back to Waterloo, to Lower Marsh, which is where I used to have my bookshop, and I'm very excited to find VITORIA Sanvicente,
yes.
Victoria, who has just opened a gelato in Lower Marsh, which is very exciting for me. Also rather disappointing because if I still have my bookshop, I'd probably be here every day having pistachio ice cream. But hey, it's probably better that I'm not because my waistline would definitely increase at a very fast pace. So
we could have done an exchange, books in exchange of gelato.
Oh gosh, don't tempt me. I might have to come and open just a little stall in the market instead.
Why not?
Yeah, well, I still have some books actually, so maybe I should think about it.
Yeah.
But VITORIA, did I say your name correctly?
Yeah.
Sanvicente.
Yeah, San Vicente. I mean, I've been used to so many different pronunciations, it doesn't really matter. In reality, the surname is Spanish, so I don't think even I know exactly how it's supposed to be pronounced. So everything goes.
Everything goes. That's good for London as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're sitting in what you call the lab, where you make the ice cream.
Yes.
And that may be why we've got this sort of slow hum in the background. We just tried some of your ginger ice cream, which you're releasing tomorrow.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
As part of a selection of winter ice creams.
Yeah, so we do seasonal flavors, and the ginger is coming out tomorrow to replace the pumpkin spice, which we did like over October, kind of around Halloween.
Yes.
But now that Christmas is approaching, we're starting to do ginger. We're definitely going to do panettone during December, so... and I'm not making any promises, but I would like to have a Christmas pudding or mince pie flavored ice cream.
So for all those listening and who are in London, SE1, or indeed anywhere in London, come to Waterloo, to Lower Marsh, and want to try Candiero's winter selection of ice creams. But we're going to backtrack a bit because I first met you, Victoria, when you came into Travelling Through the bookshop, and I think it was because you were inquiring about the book club.
Yeah.
And possibly you were lured in my books too at the same time.
I think I remember the first book I bought from you, which was The Existentialist Cafe.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
Yes. Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it, and it was a suggestion of yours, and so obviously I came back for more.
Yes.
And then I found out about the book club, and so obviously that's how our lives started to be more
connected.
Exactly.
And in fact, you're still involved with the book club.
Yes.
Managed to amazingly continue, even though I closed the bookshop, and that's been such a fantastic legacy, I suppose, for SE1 and Travelling Through, that you've all kept it alive while I've been going here, there, and everywhere, and we've not been able to be so connected with it. We're reading Arctic Dreams.
Yes.
By Mary Lopez.
I haven't started it yet, so I have no idea. And actually, obviously this year, as you can imagine, has been very busy, so I haven't been able to attend many of the book clubs, but obviously now that it's winter, we're a bit less busy. Still busy, but a bit less than summer. Mm-hmm. So I am hoping to come with at least a third of the book having been read.
Okay,
you know?
All right. Well, that's. Do you remember, I never managed to get more than halfway through any of the books that we read because of being so busy with the bookshop, so I totally get where you're coming from. It still will be a valiant effort, I think, to get that far.
Yeah.
But before we start talking about the Candiero and the gelato shop, you're originally from
Brazil, I just found out, you're born in Brazil.
Well, I'm Italian, but born in Brazil. And yeah, that's just, I mean, I could explain the comings and goings of generations of Italians. But as you know, lots of the Italians left Italy, especially in the 1800s, because there was a lot of famine and poverty. And some of them went to the US, some of them went to Argentina, some of them went to Brazil.
Right.
And obviously different generations at different points in my family, like different generations of Italians went to Brazil and then went back to Italy and then went back to Brazil and so forth. Yeah, I'm Italian, born in Brazil.
Okay.
Hence why my name is written Vitoria with a 1 T instead of 2, like the Italian spelling.
And the inflection.
Yeah, and the accent as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Pain when, you know, you have to do official documents and computers don't recognize the accent on the O in your name.
Okay. So, when did you arrive in Italy? Were you a very young girl at the time?
Well, my dad is a retired pilot, so we lived in the US as well, and then we moved to Italy. So I was around 4 or 5, and my sister would have been 2 or 3.
Okay. And which part of Italy did you grow up?
North, near Milan, there's all the lakes, and obviously the most famous ones are Lago di Garda and Lago di Como, and the one I'm from is Lago Maggiore.
Okay, is that on the border with Switzerland?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's half in Switzerland, half in Italy.
Italy. So, Liguria, is it region or Piedmont there?
So Liguria is near the sea, and I'm from the Piedmont region.
Piedmont region,
Yeah.
yes. And so the food there is quite hearty in land and very fish related, I would say.
Yeah, I would say where I'm from, it's very mountainous, let's say. So
Polentas.
yeah, polentas and meat, obviously, although I'm vegetarian. Cheeses, a lot of cheese. My area is very famous for gorgonzola, especially, and taps, like the ones you have in bathrooms. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. It was apparently they have they used to have the monopoly in the whole of Europe.
Okay, well there we go. There's some facts for a trivial pursuit question.
Yes.
And ice cream? Did you eat much ice cream growing up?
Yes. When we were kids, my sister and I went to elementary school, and nearly every day after school we would go to this place around the corner. I would get a chocolate milkshake with whipped cream. My sister would probably have had a stracciatella, and we were always very disappointed when we went there in the winter and it was closed. So next time we saw the lady, we always said, "Why didn't you open in the winter?" She said, "Because no one wants ice cream in the winter." We always thought, that's not true, we do. So here we are in the gelato shop, open in the winter.
Fantastic. And you're also sandwiched between 2 schools with probably a lot of school children looking in the window and perhaps coming in to buy ice cream.
Yeah, it's the best thing is when kids come in and they get so excited, they start jumping up and down, and then they put their paws on the window of the display just because they get so excited about the ice cream.
Fantastic. That takes me back to my ice cream days growing up in Edinburgh. I was just having pistachio ice cream. But here we are in London, and Candiero is an independent, family-run business.
Indeed.
And I had a look at your Facebook page, where it's mentioned that your family had a shop in Maastricht. Is that right?
Yeah, so my sister is the mastermind behind all of the Candiero everything. She's the one with the biggest passion for gelato. Since she was a kid, she always wanted to have a gelato shop in Alaska, oddly enough, but I think that's a visionary thing. She knew about the climate crisis before it was even a thing.
Oh, did
I
you?
think. But anyway, she wanted to work with gelato. And obviously, she studied for it, and she eventually opened the shop with my parents in Maastricht in the Netherlands. and they ran it there for 5 years, but then in 2020 they had to close. Just before the pandemic, it was a complicated situation. They had like a small shop, and then they wanted to expand it next door. It was just a massive bureaucratic nightmare, which I think is somewhat of a talent for my family, just having bureaucratic nightmares one after the other.
They follow you, do they?
Yeah, it's the family curse.
So you closed the shop, and what was the kind of the influence or the catalyst behind opening here in London, and particularly here in Lower Marsh?
Yeah, well, I think it was a series of small events, but if I think back to it, the first time I thought about it, of course I used to live in front of the Imperial War Museum, and my flatmate at the time asked me, hey, where should I go if I want some good gelato around here? And I thought about it, and I thought, well, really, you can't, because there are no gelaterias whatsoever around here. And then to go for good gelato, you'd have to go probably to Covent Garden at the time. Well, Gelatorino is still open, La Gelateria.
Yeah.
They're, in my opinion, good gelaterias. So that's where the seed was planted, and then everything took off from there. I suggested to my parents that we bring all the machines over here. Obviously, with the pandemic, we saw it as an opportunity because all of these shops were empty.
Of course, yes.
And I've never seen so many shops empty on Lower Marsh before.
And it was a changing time anyway, and I imagine the whole pandemic situation just accelerated the process that was happening in this area.
Yeah.
As well.
So we decided to take the opportunity, and originally actually I wanted a different shop. I wanted the one that used to be Greg's on the corner.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but it didn't work out. So we ended up in what used to be the old tool shop. And we did a lot of work, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And then eventually we opened in May
Of this year.
of this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And was it hard to open? Because I can't remember now. May, were we in the lockdown in May?
Technically, I don't think so.
No. And people were venturing out and probably delighted to see something that's ice cream gives everyone joy, I think.
Yeah.
Or makes people cough, one or the other. But I think the majority of people love ice cream.
Yes.
And did you have a sort of a queue of people clamoring to come in?
Yeah, well, actually, the first few days, a lot of people were just popping in, being a bit curious. We haven't been very in your face about being here for various reasons. Mostly, we had a lot of issues with the building. And so at the beginning, we weren't able to have indoor seating. We weren't able to have a lot of the things that we wanted to offer to begin with.
Yeah.
So we were literally just doing only gelato.
Okay, as a takeaway.
Yeah, so literally just gelato. We weren't even able to do milkshakes at the time.
Yeah.
So we did a very, very soft opening.
Right.
But yes, there were queues, especially on sunny days.
Yes.
But I like to think it is because of the gelato being really good, but I also have to admit the shop isn't that big, so...
But you're in a prime location. You've got a number of hotels here on the street. You've got the theatre, you've got the South Bank very close by, you've got all the skaters coming through.
Yes.
And Waterloo Station just there. And I suppose that once people have tried your ice cream, they're smitten and come back.
They are. We have regulars, which I don't know, in my mind I thought, oh well, it's a gelato shop. You will have regulars, but you won't see them that often. But you do, and it's amazing, and you have all these conversations, and it's really good. You know how good it is to have regular customers, because it means so much more than, obviously you can have one really good conversation with someone you'll never see again.
Yes.
But it's so much better when you do know that you will see that person again, and that connection is building every time that you see them.
And that's the beauty of this area too. It's it's quite unique in the sense that there is such a community right here, right behind Waterloo Station. A lot of people don't realise there's so many people living in this area, and they just appear, don't they? And you realise that the network is huge and very integrated.
Yeah.
And are so willing and enthusiastic to support independent shops, particularly here in Lower Marsh. Many people have lived here for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I'm pushing for the word Water-pudlian to be a thing, by the way. So I'm gonna use Water-pudlian. But as a Water-pudlian myself, I feel that very strongly, and there's nowhere else like Waterloo. Nothing can compare. There are lots of strong communities in London, but those make sense. Waterloo, in a way, doesn't make sense because you wouldn't expect it to be the way it is, and that's why it makes it so much more special.
Yes. And you mentioned as well that the shop actually opened on the
5th of May, which ironically was the 200th anniversary from the death of Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
So we opened our shop in Waterloo on the same day that the emperor died.
Did you do that on purpose, or was it just by chance?
Well, it was kind of by chance, but also I'm a massive Napoleon fan, so I was really keen to open that day because it happened to be that week. We were hoping to open way before that, but the building works were delayed so long, and then it happened that during that week they were nearly done.
Yes.
And so we took the opportunity to open on the same day.
That's a great connection. And the name Candiero, why Candiero? Is it a family name, or is it
No, so my sister chose the name. Candiero is the name of the first original recipe for gelato, which was invented for Caterina de' Medici during the Renaissance.
Okay.
And it was, I can't think of the translation from Italian to English, but basically it comes from the color of the gelato that was very white, so candid, bright color. Candiero was the name of the recipe, and that's why she chose it, because what we do is proper traditional artisanal gelato. You can't get more traditional than using the name of the first traditional recipe.
Well, that's great. It's nice to have a real sense of purpose almost behind the name of your shop too. So
yeah.
Your gelato. I mean, just tried, as I think, with the ginger ice cream, which you're looking as far as I said. What is the process behind making an ice cream here in Candiero? Is it a secret, or obviously there's a process?
Yeah.
Perhaps your individual ice cream flavours are your family secrets.
Yes.
Okay. But the actual essential elements of making ice cream, can you just explain in very broad terms? Are you using where are your products coming from? For example, are they coming from markets in London, or are they things you have?
Well, some of the things we import, for example, the pistachio and hazelnuts, we import the paste from Italy because it's 100% pistachio paste, 100% hazelnut paste.
Right.
My sister is very particular about the flavors and the ingredients that we use, and obviously we don't want to bastardize any of her work, which is amazing. If you have tried the ice cream, you will probably agree. The idea is that we don't use any pre-made anything. We don't use artificial colorings. We don't use artificial flavorings. And so some of these things are really hard to find.
Yes.
And you can only find them on the Italian market. Obviously, with Brexit, it takes a bit longer, or you have to do a massive order to get, your money's worth when importing. So yes, it depends on the on the flavor, and obviously we do seasonal flavors because of the taste is not the same. For example, if you take a watermelon and you make a watermelon sorbet, it's going to taste amazing in July, but in December it's going to taste like watered down cucumber.
Yeah.
So
because it's not in season.
exactly. So there's a lot of this going on. Yeah.
Interesting. And so it is actually a scientific lab almost that we're sitting in.
Yeah.
And everything is very definitively measured out to get the flavours.
Absolutely. If you make gelato, you have to calculate a lot because if you get the proportions wrong, the gelato might be too sweet, it might melt too fast, it might... There's so many things that can go wrong, and so it's a very precise science behind it.
And the milk that you use, milk, British milk, for example, is very different to European milk. In terms of the thickness, there's a difference between Class A1 and Class A2 milk. And I know certainly in France, I think Italy too are A2 milks, and it's much thicker. And I wonder whether do you use milk from here, and has that changed with consistency?
Yeah, of course we use milk from here, but obviously you also have cream.
Yeah.
And with my sister we calculated how to balance the recipes so that they would come out the way she wanted them to. Personally, I agree that milk in France and Italy is very different. In fact, I don't drink milk here because I find the taste completely different. And but obviously when you're balancing it out, and that's what we did, then you still get the right consistency and it all works out.
So your sister's very pleased with how things are going, because for her also, I imagine it's been a cultural change for her coming here from working in Maastricht for 5 years and coming to work in a British system as well.
Well, she came for a month to help set it up, and then she went back to Maastricht because actually she is now studying. She's doing a degree in global studies, which is really exciting. It suits her a lot. It's a combination of social sciences, law, and policy and politics, and with a big focus on the global south and a lot of social justice. So it's her other passion that started growing while she was doing the ice cream shop there. So she kind of passed the baton for a very brief moment there, you know.
So that's quite exciting for you though, is it? In terms of, are you now learning how to make the ice cream yourself, or did you know anyway?
I had absolutely no clue about ice cream until my sister came here and taught me everything.
So it's been baptism by fire, basically, in your learning process.
Yes, and obviously, you know, before doing this, I did read a lot. I did go to a few courses, but it's obviously all theoretical until you actually see. It's hard to talk about ice cream and explain when you say, oh, it has to be at a scoopable temperature. You can't really imagine how that feels like until you actually know what that feels like, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So yes, it's been a very interesting learning curve.
Yes, and are you enjoying it?
I'm absolutely loving it. It's very stressful, obviously, but it's really rewarding, and there are moments where you make a difference in someone's day that you don't even realize how big that difference is.
Yes. Just over an ice cream and flavour and taste, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking of ice cream flavours, then, do you have a favourite? I suppose it changes with the season, so what was your summer favourite?
Yeah, so my summer favourite was lavender and honey.
Wow.
And it's just incredible, so I can't wait to have it again next year.
Yes.
And my winter favourite so far is the apple crumble.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think I shall have to try that as well. But I
Yeah.
see you also have pistachio, which is still, I can't help it, it's my favourite. It's also my benchmark, actually, between ice creams and
Yeah.
teas. So also that's a very interesting concept because you're getting people involved in tasting and trying different ice creams and then finding their favourite, but then having to wait a season until they can try it again and introduce their palate to another favourite. So that in itself it means that you're working the seasons with your ice cream and
Yeah.
also bringing new interest into the shop, new people in as well, depending on the flavours.
Yeah, of course there's some flavors that you'll never not see. So for example, pistachio is always going to be there, hazelnut is always going to be there, vanilla is always going to be there, coconut. I thought of taking off for the winter because I didn't think it was very wintry, but people were very much upset about that. Yeah, because they absolutely love the coconut.
Yes.
So so I put it back.
You put it back on?
Yeah, I put it back on. So coconut is not going anywhere ever.
Anybody worrying that coconut is off the menu, it's not, so you can come back to Candiero.
Yeah.
Have you other ideas to bring customers in during the winter?
Yeah.
Because, I did see on your Instagram post, and I saw that you were serving Affogatos, which is all year round. Is it? Was it a winter thing?
It can be all year round, but obviously during the winter it works really well. Affogato, for those who don't know, is ice cream covered in coffee. But you can also do that with hot chocolate. Mm-hmm. So we've got a coffee machine, so you can have Affogato, like you can have all the normal coffees, but you can also have Affogato, which you can't find anywhere else in Lower Marsh. And the other thing that you can find here that you can't find anywhere else in Lower Marsh is the Marocchino. I won't explain it because otherwise no one's going to come in to find out. No, so Marocchino is layered chocolate and hazelnut paste, mm-hmm. coffee and froth.
Oh wow.
And it's a thing we do in Italy but no one does here.
Okay.
So
I shall have to try one.
The other thing we do is we've got hot chocolate, the Italian thick hot chocolate, yes. Not the milky English one. Mm-hmm. Not to say the English one isn't good, but the Italian one is exceptional. It's the thing you have when you come back from a hike in the Alps and you sit in front of the fireplace and then you put whipped cream on top, and it's just amazing. Okay. So proper hot chocolate. We have little sweets called Vegaderos. They're the Brazilian side coming out there. They're kind of like fudge, but nothing like fudge. They are very chocolatey, very tasty. We do Tiramisu as well. We've got lots of really good soft drinks. So, for example, I don't know, so the cherry tea, I don't know if you know the brand, but they are all organic, fair trade, all of these amazing things. And they also have a foundation to donate their profits to developing countries, like projects in developing countries. So we're working with them, and then we may or may not have a few surprises.
But what I love about everything that you're saying is that you're thinking very seriously about where the product's coming and what are the ethics of that supplier, and so it doesn't stop with you. It's in terms of doing things organically and fresh and no flavourings. You're carrying that on through the products that you're bringing into the shop. So you're bringing a real paper trail, if you like, of being as clean and as transparent in your approach towards environment and the social impact that your shop has down the line.
Yeah, we do our best. It's hard. Even when you're really as passionate as I am, as you already know, sometimes the system really works against you.
Yes. When you're not making ice cream?
Yeah, well, I do need to specify, sometimes make ice cream, but we have someone a lot more professional than me who does the ice cream, Asia. She has 3 years experience in gelato making, and she is the gelato.
She's your gelato
maker. Yes.
Kat, who's front of house.
Yeah.
Who I met as I came in.
Yeah.
And providing the smile and the hellos. And your sister probably pops in now and again when she can.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the recipes are the foundation of everything. So, yeah.
All very, very exciting and very early days too. Is this a dream? I know it's obviously a dream that your sister had, but is it something that you ever envisaged that you would do in your life?
No.
So, is it a dream that you may have had subconsciously?
Maybe. I think owning a shop on Lower Marsh is definitely something that I'm really excited to be able to do. Mm-hmm. Did I ever see myself owning a shop? Maybe. I thought about it a few times. Did I think it was going to be reality? Not really, you know?
Yeah.
Is some things, you know, when you think, oh, I could see myself doing that, but it's so far away, and then all of a sudden it's there.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to reconcile the two.
Yes, the reality,
yeah.
the dream role, the idea and the reality.
Exactly.
Do you sort of pinch yourself? Frankly, I have an ice cream shop.
Yeah,
Gelato.
sometimes I still do.
How did that happen?
Exactly.
So over Christmas time, obviously, really, really busy. Are you going to be open over Christmas?
Yeah. I'll be here, Asia and Kate, who are both Italian. So just in case you're doubting anyone's Italian here, there's only one poor guy who's English. Oh.
You speak Italian?
No.
No, okay. So
he really should.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm the one staying here this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be obviously closed on the 25th, 26th.
Yeah.
27, 28, because they made those substitute bank holidays.
Of course, yes.
So, of course, you know how London is during Christmas.
It's quiet and then it goes crazy.
Yeah.
And it's unpredictable as well. So I don't know how it will work for New Year, because New Year around here is normally pretty crazy.
But they're not doing the fireworks. Yeah, so we're staying open. I think it's 29th, 30th, and 31st. We're open.
Okay, so but everything will be on.
We've got Instagram, we've got Facebook.
Okay, so before we move on as well, we should just say, so it's just look up Candiero, which is spelled Candiero.
Mm-hmm.
Candiero London.
Yeah, at Candiero London on Instagram. I think as well on Facebook.
Or just come down to Waterloo and Lower Marsh and have an ice cream at lunchtime once you've bought a sandwich, or from the many stalls that are here.
Yeah.
Ice cream dessert.
Exactly.
Why not? Machines have gone quiet and the music is playing. It's very nice. When you're not in the shop, where do you like to go in London to relax or enjoy life?
It's a bit boring of me, but Waterloo. I absolutely love Waterloo. So anyone who knows me from various different parts of my life, mm-hmm. I get this comment a lot, which is every time I think of Waterloo, I think of you, because I'm just so
into Waterloo.
It's my natural habitat. So if I'm relaxing, you might see me at the Imperial War Museum Park having a walk, or at the Sculpture Cafe having a coffee and reading a book. And yeah, this is my happy place.
You're a woman of the Waterloo hood.
Yeah.
Of SE1.
Yeah.
But if you want to get out of London, or when you do get out of London, where would you go? Do you have places that you like?
Bristol. I absolutely love Bristol.
Okay.
I don't know why, but this has been a thing since 2019. I went there to check it out because I thought, everyone tells me they could see me living in Bristol. I'm wondering what this is all about.
Yeah.
And I went and I absolutely fell in love with it. And sometimes when I go to Bristol, I just have like butterflies. I had that, like, I went to a climate change and the law event once, and it was in Bristol. And I had this thing where I got the butterflies when I got on the train. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to Bristol. And the last time I went, it was incredible because it was after BLM. And obviously we all know about the Colston statue and we've all seen the pictures, but to actually walk the distance between the plinth and where they threw the statue in the harbour really is so powerful, because you can really see how far it is, because that statue weighs 400 kilos if I'm not mistaken. And they dragged that for a very, very long time before actually throwing it into the harbour where it should have stayed, but now it's at the M Shed. It's part of an exhibition. You can actually go see it, and it's got, you know, all the graffiti on the statue. It's really amazing, really incredible. Absolutely love it.
So Bristol it is.
Yeah.
And that's 2.5 hours by buses. It's very easy.
Exactly.
Yes. In fact, it's cheaper to go by bus.
Yeah.
But if you could just tomorrow get on an aeroplane or get on a train, not an aeroplane because you haven't flown since 2010, you said.
No, early 2020.
Oh, early 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, I chose to stop flying because of the climate crisis.
Yes. Okay. So, if you could get on a train anywhere, where would you go in the world?
I'd love to go see Poland. This is the thing. Obviously, there are some places where you will have to get a plane to go. Obviously, I've still got family in Brazil. I'd love to go see them.
By boat?
I don't know if that's more sustainable, to be honest, because boats, depending on the boat, can be very polluting.
True. You'll have to do like Greta Thunberg and go on a yacht for someone who's going that way.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
It'd take a while.
Exactly.
Did you get seasick?
Yes.
Okay, so not really not a pleasant option.
No. But I'll think about that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Sure.
But yeah, Poland, I really am curious to see, because apparently it has beautiful nature, wonderful food, and sounds like an amazing place.
Have you been around most of the UK? Is anywhere in the UK that you'd...
I mean, I've been around a lot of the UK. I haven't been to Cornwall yet. I would really love to see that. The Scilly Islands as well are on my list. There's obviously the famous route names road trip. That'd be really cool.
The what, sorry?
There's a road trip you can do where every stop is a place with a route name. Like Twattons in Scotland, for example. I don't know exactly. Twat. T-W-A-T-T. There's a road trip where you can cross the UK. It's kind of the rude names version of Land's End to John O'Groats.
Okay. Quite an entertaining tour.
Exactly. I do have this tendency to do this kind of stuff. So, for example, in France, I had my whole route planned when I cycled was based on the fact there was a place called, now I know it's pronounced Troyes, but it's spelled in a way that looks like whores in Italian.
Oh, really?
So I really wanted to go see that place. So my whole itinerary was based on the fact that I wanted to go there because of the name.
Did it live up to expectations?
It was cute.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice. I am not disappointed that I went there. So, and the other time I went to Hartlepool because of the monkey story, where apparently in Hartlepool during the Napoleonic Wars, there was a shipwreck of a French ship near Hartlepool, and obviously the Water-pudlians had never seen a French person or never even heard French being spoken before. Problem was the only survivor of the shipwreck was a monkey. It was the mascot of the ship, and he was dressed in Napoleonic uniform. So the people of Hartlepool thought it was a French spy and put it on trial and hung it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So because of this story, I decided, let's go to Hartlepool And my ex-boyfriend was really kind, drove me all the way up there, and then it just turns out that it's a very unfortunately deprived area of the UK, very much ruled by an oil refinery and wind farm and just a general post-industrial vibes.
Yeah, that didn't live up to expectations then.
No, but it did give me really interesting insight in the places that aren't London.
Yes,
in
it's great to be inspired to go to places based on different stories or things that you hear.
Yeah.
It takes you to the unusual, and the unusual normally widens your understanding of life, really.
Exactly.
Okay, well, tell me, Candiero, what's next on the agenda? You're launching your ginger flavour tomorrow.
Yes.
And what else?
For now, top secret.
For now, top secret.
Yeah.
So basically, we need everybody to keep their eye on your Facebook page and your Instagram page, because that's where you put out what you're doing.
That's where you can find us, you can chat to us, you can ask us any questions, have a look what we're doing, what our display is looking like, what flavours we're making, and so on.
Well, Victoria, thank you so much for spending time with me and talking about Candiero. After a long day's work, I think you've just come straight from
my pleasure.
Your day job, and I'm now looking forward to trying a bit of pistachio ice cream and maybe
Apple crumble.
For all those podcast listening that you've enjoyed it and been inspired, do take a look at the Instagram and Facebook page. Please follow them. Please follow the Travelling Through podcast, and please keep posted. There'll be more coming out next week. But for now, take care and thanks for listening.
Thanks, bye.